Jujutsu Kaisen's final chapter has been released. The legendary shonen manga has come to an end following the defeat of Ryoma and Sukuna and the reunion of the original trio. But is that it? Throughout the last 6.5 years, JJK has been releasing weekly, slowly developing and building to become the popular story that we know and love. And this last week, Gege has made his final chapter release of the Jujutsu Kaisen manga by having the original trio team up one last time to tackle on a mission. During this chapter, we follow Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara as they investigate the scene of a Jujutsu-related incident. After gathering evidence, they quickly realize that they're dealing with a remote and covert curse user. Megumi steps up to lead the team, devising a clever plan to bait the curse user out of hiding. With the help of his divine dog, Megumi successfully captures the curse user. What follows is a moment of emotional tension, as Yuji, noticing the curse user's guilt and regret, decides to console him. This moment triggers a flashback to a conversation Yuji had with Gojo, which deeply impacted him. Inspired by Gojo's words, Yuji shares the same message with the curse user, reflecting on Gojo's wisdom and applying it to the situation at hand. The scene then shifts to Nobara questioning Yuji about what he did with that thing. Yuji calmly replies that he got rid of it and assures her that it's no longer dangerous. In the next panel, we see Yuji's 3-finger hand, possibly hinting that they were talking about Sukuna's finger. The story then transitions to a conversation between Mahito and Sukuna, taking place in what seems to be a soul realm. Mahito asks whether his motives are driven by conviction or revenge. Surprisingly, Sukuna shows signs of growth. He admits that while he has lived true to himself, there was another path he could have taken. A path symbolized by the appearance of a figure some believe to be Yorozu. Sukuna implied that he could have chosen a different life, one where he embraced Yorozu and her love, rather than eliminating her and choosing destruction alongside Urame. He even goes on to say that if there were ever a next time, he might consider walking that path. Wait, hold on a second. Did we just witness genuine character development from Sukuna, the king of curses? He just implied that he might live amongst humans instead of seeking their destruction. Mahito scoffs at Sukuna's reflection, accusing him of going soft. Sukuna, with Urame by his side, admits to Mahito's insult and shockingly acknowledges that he did, in fact, lose. I personally found Sukuna's ending to be phenomenal. Who would have thought that the king of curses could show a change of heart? It makes me wonder if the conversation he had in Yuji's domain played a role in this shift. Perhaps Yuji, in his own way, managed to get Sukuna to see life from a different perspective. As we turn to the final page of the chapter, we're treated with one last happy glimpse of all Gojo's students. The scene then abruptly shifts to a shed with the door slightly creaking open, revealing Sukuna's finger inside. Could this be what Yuji meant when he said he got rid of it? The finger has returned to the very place we first saw it in the manga's opening chapter. But what does this mean for the future of Jujutsu Kaisen? While Gege didn't confirm or hint at a second part, he also didn't completely close the door on the possibility. The way the manga concluded feels somewhat open-ended, and I can't be the only one who finds that suspicious. In the final chapters, Gege spent some time elaborating on Jujutsu mechanics and created build-up for an upcoming mission that Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara would go on. I honestly thought this mission would lead to something more significant that might set up a continuation of the story. Just tell me that you didn't get an ominous feeling with this last panel of Yuji implying that the mission should be a piece of cake. It was very reminiscent of chapter 235 when Yuji claimed Gojo won, and we all know what happened in the chapter that followed. But as it turns out, it was just a low-level curse user causing some trouble, which left me a bit underwhelmed. While the ending did tie things up, it left me with a few unanswered questions. For starters, I never really expected Gege to bring Gojo back. He's openly expressed his struggles writing a character as overwhelmingly powerful as Gojo, but after his defeat to Sukuna, there was no sense of a real farewell. Gojo's importance to Jujutsu society and his students can't be understated. For nearly 236 chapters, he was the unshakable pillar of Jujutsu, the one regarded as the strongest, and tasked with gathering powerful sorcerers, whether out of self-interest or genuine concern. We've seen flashbacks of him mentoring Yuji, Yuta, and others, yet after his death, he's seemingly forgotten. It feels strange that there's no mention of Gojo after everything he's done. Just a few chapters earlier, we see Megumi mourning at his sister's grave, which only deepens the question. Why wouldn't the students do the same for Gojo? And what about his body? Yuta clearly has his scars, suggesting he might have used Kenjaku's body swapping technique to return to his original form. So what happened with Gojo's body? Did they have a burial? Or are there plans for it later? Gege gives us no closure on this front, leaving fans in the dark, forced to wonder about the fate of the character who defines so much of the series. And what about that mysterious figure in chapter 270 accompanying Takaba? From the hair and body language, they bear a striking resemblance to Geto, yet every panel manages to cover their face. Gege even goes as far as placing a dialogue box directly over it, raising the question, who is this and what role will they play? Then there's Yuji's domain. By the end, we still don't know what it's called, or even fully understand its abilities. Ever since he used it back in chapter 264, we haven't gotten much detail. How is it that Yuji can change the scenery in his domain? We know domains typically have a fixed environment. Gojo's domain has the infinite space, while Jogo's is filled with fire and volcanic landscapes. Also, what even is the sure hit effect of Yuji's domain? And speaking of domains, what does this mean for Megumi? Now that he's back in his body, what lies ahead for his character development? Gojo once said that Megumi has the potential to surpass even him, yet Gege leaves these threads hanging, which contributes to why the ending feels somewhat lackluster. That brings me to the bigger picture. Gege is undeniably a talented writer, and he's proven that time and time again over the past 6 years. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if all of this was intentional, leaving Jujutsu Kaisen with an open-ended feel, ready to be revisited at any time in the future. I mean, think about it. Why would he end the manga with an image of Sukuna's stored finger, in the very same shed from chapter 1, rather than a final joyful panel of the characters smiling together? Tell me what you guys think of how Gege handled the ending. Could we see a JJK Shippuden in the future? Drop your thoughts and theories down below. I know there's been a lot of negative feedback, but let's not let this ending take away from the amazing moments we've had throughout the last 6 years. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for my next video. Thanks.